Ryan Cullen, no, he hasn't quite stalled it, but well, that is the wrong kind of advert in front of the Formula One paddock. This is him going wheel to wheel with the 19 of, that must be Webster. Yes, it is Webster. So again, these two coming together. Brilliant side-by-side stuff, but Webster up the inside. Oh, there's plenty of space, Ryan. No, there's not. Oh dear. Too close together.
Well, they gave each other racing room here, and Cullen's given enough room for Webster to get up the inside. He does squeeze him ever so slightly. They get through, and then Cullen just sort of comes across. He's still got about a metre. Webster didn't really drive into him.
No.
So sort of a rather innocuous spin there from Cullen, and you just feel that he could have just kept it straight for a bit longer, and they would have got through there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that was completely unnecessary from Ryan Cullen. He had defended his position valiantly. He could have got plenty of acceleration out of the corner. Yes, they would have been side by side going down to the chicane, but he had the inside. He had the inside line for the next corner.
Yes.
So that should have been very, very easy for him to defend. A very poor mistake there from Ryan Cullen, and that will not have been forgotten by his team. So, at the front, we have Melville McKee and Alexander Sims suddenly racing it back into the frame for this. He started from pole position, and now he's matching McKee sector per sector in terms of his times. They're both getting 151s at the moment. Yellowly has dropped back to a 151.6 on that line. Oh dear, that's Webster getting a puncture as a result of that contact with Cullen. So a weekend to forget then for young Josh Webster. That is such a shame. A lovely bloke. And he's got an uphill struggle this season. He is one of the newer men in the GP3 series, comes fresh from Formula Renault last year, of course. And, well, that's not what he wanted to see. Really disappointing for him and the Status team. So they go to work and send him out again. You never know what can happen. A safety car might come out, and he may well get a chance of some points. But 5 laps to go. It's certainly looking difficult at the moment.
Yeah, just more miles in the car though, whatever. The more miles for him, the better. But these guys won't be too keen to see the back of Webster's car as he leaves the pits, because this is Melville McKee doing a really good job. Now, Sims just ever so slightly quicker than him, but he's not feeding the pressure too much, is Melville McKee. And Sims pushing incredibly hard to catch him, got down to 1.2 now. Nick Yellowly, interestingly enough, just falling off a cliff there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he's literally about a second a lap or so slower than him at the moment. So Yellowly losing time, hand over fist. Williamson is actually staying fairly consistent with his times, but Sainz Jr. has broken away now from Theo Ellenis in 5th position. So Sainz Jr. there in 5th place has now managed to get rid of Theo Ellenis, and that's not a problem as far as Ellenis is concerned. 6th position, it's not bad considering where his rivals are, so that's fine.
Hey, listen, it's perfect because it's very difficult to overtake in this top 10 in GP3. I mean, we saw at Silverstone, positions 1 to 13 didn't change in race 2. It's very true. Start. So he's made up a couple of places. It could have been worse, could have been better, but I don't think Ellenis will be too disappointed. He would have had a certain level of expectation as to what was possible today, and he would have probably taken 6th.
So very tricky to see who's going to be the winner of this one, because we have Melville McKee leading the way with Alexander Sims closing in. Look at the gap he's pulled up to Yellowly. This is brilliant driving from Sims. I hope McLaren are watching.
That's Webster they're coming up to the back of now too.
Look at the difference in the lap times between these two. Alexander Sims has reeled Melville McKee in after that pass on Nick Yellowly, and look at him go. He is absolutely storming. We've got a 2-lap barnstormer to the flag here. This is brilliant between the two of them. 3 laps to go, sorry. Between the two of them, McKee now just 0.6 of a second ahead of Alexander Sims. We've got ourselves a grandstand finish here.
Yeah, we really have, and Melville McKee now will feel the pressure because he'll see Sims coming and he's all over the back of him, and that will be a big hammer blow to Melville McKee in terms of momentum and how he approaches things. Sims would have been disappointed to have seen Webster pull in the fellow Status driver as Sims gets very
Sims
wide. It's okay.
Wide.
It's not going to cost him too much time, but Webster would have been a real benefit to Sims in that other Status car. But doing the right thing, Josh Webster pulling in and getting out of the way of the lead battle. So Melville McKee lives to fight another day. Sims has to rectify the time loss from that turn 4 incident there. Just again, another driver on the sausage curb, and you can't get off it.
No,
and then you're on the grass.
That would have been so easy for that car to spit out of his control and end up in the barrier. Sims with a brilliant save, and that really has kept him in the battle, and he's still within 0.6 of a second of Sims, so he had caught right up to the back of him before he hit those curbs, and Melville McKee now is the man under pressure. Alexander Sims must be loving this, pure driving. This is, I've got a car right up in front of me, I've got the win, I can smell it, I can taste it, I can go for this, let's do it. And I hope the McLaren boys are watching, because this is a total perfect advert for what a young driver of Sims's caliber can do. Bring it on.
He would have spent the first half of this race ruining, getting a bad start from pole position, but he's quickly gathered up his thoughts, and he's really impressive. This is Fontana now passing Ericsson, isn't it?
Oh, it was very close, but that was very nicely done from Fontana. You've got to take your chances when they come. It's that old Ayrton Senna adage, you don't go for a gap that's not there, then you're not a racing driver, and Alexander Sims certainly used that to good effect at the next corner, in fact, and he's got a good chance here on Melville McKee, taking another 0.3 of a second out of his lap on lap 11, 0.7 out of it last lap, and even last lap when he went on the curbs, he still was faster than Melville McKee. This is brilliant from Sims, 2 to go.
Very quick in this first sector is Alexander Sims. This is where he does a lot of the damage. And the longer middle sector around here, mid-speed corner, it's very difficult to get up and close to the car in front, because there's not really many huge braking zones, and so it's difficult to gain time, and unless there's a real imbalance with the tyres, you're not going to gain too much. You can see just Sims trying to maximise the braking zones there. Slightly different line to Melville McKee, really using the camber and his track experience and just knowledge as a driver with a huge amount of skill and experience under his belt. So this is Connor Daly getting very close to the back of Zamparelli now. Zamparelli tends to struggle at the end of races, doesn't he? Pushes very hard at the beginning, doesn't quite come together for him at the end. Huge talent.
Very huge talent, yes indeed. He was of course one of the McLaren nominees, McLaren Award nominees. I think he actually won it, didn't he, Dino Zamparelli? No, not quite, but he was certainly one of the 2 drivers. I think it went down to those 2 drivers they gave it to in the end. I can't remember who they gave it to in that particular year. But no, Zamparelli, a very good talent. He was a Formula 2 driver last year before the championship unfortunately folded. But it was clear to see that Zamparelli, one of Britain's hottest talents at the moment. Connor Daly losing out there, and that's going to put him into the clutches of Niederhauser, protecting that inside line. Connor Daly now on the defensive. A couple of corners ago he was on the offensive, and all of a sudden that little error through the chicane. Look at him swarming for the inside line. Niederhauser wants a run down to the first corner, and he's actually on him. There is distance between the 2 of them side by side. Niederhauser going to try and shot him down in the opening part of the corner on the inside line. He's going to get him on the switchback. Daly runs wide. Niederhauser gets on the throttle. Daly again defends the inside line. Niederhauser has to go the long way round, and he might be able to get the switchback again to get down the next corner. He's going to try a Sims. He doesn't do it.
Daly runs wide though. That's going to really hurt him. Yeah, it does.
He's got him. Classic racing there. Niederhauser just waited, just hassled Connor Daly, and it was the American that folded first. We're on the last lap, and up the inside, Sims is looking for Melville McKee. Are we about to see a Vettel and Button style Canada that we saw a couple of years ago in Formula 1, when the leader is pressured into a mistake on the last lap, and it's gift wrapped to the British driver behind him. Alexander Sims closing down on Melville McKee through the entirety of this last lap, through the left and through the right. Is Melville McKee going to be able to hold it? He's sliding around a lot. The tyres will have gone off. This is where he'll be under the most pressure he could possibly imagine. He's got his first win in GP3 series riding on this. The run down to the chicane, this could decide it. Alexander Sims is a pure thoroughbred racer, and he will try, if there's an opportunity, round the outside. McKee's got to get this chicane perfect. In the left, in the right, Sims is right behind him, down to the final corner, and Melville McKee has got to nail this perfectly. Into the entrance. Has he got enough acceleration out the corner? Yes, he has. It's going to be Bamboo Engineering's Melville McKee who takes the flag under massive, massive pressure from Alexander Sims. And Melville McKee celebrates in fine style. McKee wins. Sims is second. Yellowly is third. Williamson is fourth. British first. British second. British third. British fourth.
And that just shows how much it means to win a race. Melville McKee pumping the air there, and what a great drive. I mean, he went slightly defensive into the chicane at the end there, felt the pressure, but he did the right thing. He stopped it on the exit, and that meant that Sims couldn't get the switchback, couldn't get the run down into the last corner. So intelligent bit of driving from Melville McKee. That was calculated. He knew exactly what he was doing, and that shows intelligence. And to show that sort of collectiveness at that period of the last lap in uncharted territory for this man, hasn't won in GP3 with a real superstar in Alexander Sims behind him. He deserves this win, and you know, I'm really impressed. I think he's done an absolutely incredible job. Really well done.
Going into this weekend, Bamboo Engineering had 2 points on the board. Now they have a winner. Melville McKee has driven in absolutely sensational style. I'm absolutely flabbergasted by that. Brilliant job from Melville McKee, totally deserved. That is why he is one of the BRDC superstars. A brilliant young talent. If you've never heard his name before, you certainly have now. An amazing job. He held off the likes of Sims, Yellowly and Williamson, all of whom have made their names known in various Formula One-esque guises over the course of the last few years. Yellowly, a winner in 3.5. That's very much a Formula One radar championship, as is this, of course. Sims, a McLaren GT driver. Williamson, part of the Red Bull package. But it's Melville McKee who leads a Britain 1, 2, 3, 4. We may not have got it at Silverstone, but you know what? I'll take that as a British fan. Brilliant stuff. Sainz is there in 5th. More importantly for the championship, Ellinus in 6th. He will be pleased with that, considering he started in 7th on the grid. That's damage limitation, and that certainly protects his lead in the championship. Zamparelli, another Brit in the points. We shouldn't forget that in 7th. Niederhauser 8th, Daly 9th. And Jack Harvey will rue that mistake he made at the first corner round the outside. And losing out after contact there with Sainz Jr., that's going to hurt now, isn't it?
I mean, he had to go to the outside. He had all the momentum in the world, and it was the fact that the front row was so slow away that forced his hand ever so slightly. Could have given Carlos Sainz Jr. a bit more room, and I think that's what will leak out. You know, when you go to the outside at turn 1, you always expose yourself to an element of risk or danger, and unfortunately didn't work out for Jack Harvey this time around.
So we have a winner we not necessarily expected today. We thought it could be Alex Sims who whitewashed this one. But Melville McKee got the better start into the first corner, drove away, and even though Alexander Sims was coming, and he was coming big style, McKee was ever the defenseman, and he made sure that this race was his own. Let's not forget this man either. Nick Yellowly drove brilliantly at Silverstone, drove brilliantly here today as well. Still very much a main man. And not bad at all to consider that we've got 3 British drivers on the podium. We have quite a few drivers in this championship, of course, but everybody in Formula One talks about who's the next British boy wonder, who's the next Lewis Hamilton, who's the next Jenson Button. Well, we've got 4 of them to choose from here, and Melville McKee has suddenly thrown his hat into the ring.
Yeah, no, he has, and it'll be interesting to see what he does with this in terms of can he build on it and the momentum that comes with the psychological jubilation of a victory. Hopefully he can. Nick Yellowly will be pleased with 3rd as well, because it's not quite working out for Yellowly yet, but he's still picking up really good points. And so there we go. I think that's Mr. Hales at Bamboo Engineering that he's hugging there.
That is a delighted Bamboo Engineering team. Such a frustrating start to the season for them. 2 points in 3 weekends, and now they've got a win. Brilliant, brilliant performance from Melville McKee. Nick Yellowly shaking his hand. I think he's won. I think he's happy about it as well. Melville McKee, it's very, very delighting to get, obviously, a podium. Podiums are well received in this world of motor racing, but the victory tastes so sweet. And Melville McKee, in the first 8 races, becomes the 8th driver to experience it. What an open championship this is.
Yeah, it is indeed. Almost looks like a Roman Grosjean lookalike there, doesn't it? Alexander Sims, a vital podium for status and lots of information learned for them. So well done, Alexander Sims and status.
And with that move from Sims early on Yellowly, McLaren might have been watching, but it's Melville McKee who takes